Welcome, everybody. It's Talking Kaizer Chiefs, brought to you by SoccerBeat, and I'm with Tsepo Masilela, probably the best left back ever to have played for Kaizer Chiefs, and Farouk Khan, one of Kaizer Chiefs' top coaches. Guys, big news at the moment. Two big stories. Ighodaro, Sundowns player, been on loan to Chipper, to Amazulu, to Supersport, is reportedly signed for Kaizer Chiefs and be with them on their tour to the Netherlands. And then just announced today, Ethan Chislett, whose father, Mike Chislett, actually played in South Africa for Durban City, South African-born midfielder, been released by Port Vale, has also reportedly signed for Kaizer Chiefs, although neither of those have been officially announced. Now, before we go into, guys, don't forget, please subscribe. We're close to 50,000. Once we get 50,000 subscribers, we are giving 50,000 rands worth of prizes to our lucky subscribers. So please, guys, you got a bit of time. Subscribe. So, first question I want to ask you, guys, Tsepo and Farouk, and maybe this one to you, Tsepo, first. Is Ighodaro really the striker that can take Chiefs to the promised land to compete there with at least Pirates next season for that second or third spot? Is he the difference? The coach has been saying, I need a goal scorer. Is he the guy that's going to put them in the back of the net?
It's a tough one. I don't really think so, Peter. If you look at his record at Amazulu, he had 6 goals in 27 matches. At SuperSport, it was only 8 goals in 34 matches. I think he can get to a good 10, 12 maybe, but for them to get to a top 3, they'll also need the Lilipo, to continue with his form of scoring, meaning the attacking players will have to contribute a lot. But Ighodaro, I don't see him as a top striker or a threat. I know aerially is very powerful. That's where he scores. That's how he scores most of his goals, with the header. He knows how to attack the ball. He's not scared to go through the keeper. But I think for them to get to top 3, it also depends on their attacking players, on the form of their attacking players. Are they scoring, the winger, the number 10, the second striker?
So, Farouk, you're there. You've been on the Kaizer Chiefs bench. Kaizer Maton comes to you and says, listen, I know you're looking for a striker. Or Kaizer Junior comes to you and says, I know you're looking for a striker, Farouk. We've done our homework. We brought you Ighodaro. He's the man who's going to lead your attack this season. 2 questions. 1, are you happy? And 2, how would you use him for Kaizer Chiefs right now with the current team?
Yeah, Peter, I will be happy that we're signing a player who has the presence in the box. Okay, he has that ability to cause problems, especially for clubs who can't defend against a wing attack. So he could be a player that I could bring into my squad. Whether he would be my desired first choice is another question. I would think that based on my philosophy, I would have to use him as an impact player. And I say this with due respect, that if you look at Kaizer Chiefs over the past, they have been signing players, signed Morris for the similar role. They had Chief Avilo for the similar role, but nothing panned out. So again, I think the playing philosophy or the game model, even a better word I would say, my game model must suit Ighodaro, simply because if I start maybe with the way I did last season by using quicker players on transition, then I wouldn't start Ighodaro because there's no supply coming. Because Ighodaro, as much as he's a player who has presence, he's not the quickest. To be able to get into those areas quick enough to suit Kaizer Chiefs very offensive transition. Transition is the modern concept, but it is also how you use transition effectively. So my game model will decide whether I start him or whether I bring him on as an impact player. But I mean, based on the fact that he's a free agent, I would go for him. It's a case of Sundowns having seen his potential, but he's never lived up to it. Wherever he's been there with a few goals. Not enough goals, like Tsepo says, for a player who's going to give you that number 3 spot. Because we've seen currently, what we've seen with Sundowns now, they're probably going to be much stronger than what we've seen the last season. I've been just looking at them in the World Club competition, and also they're looking to sign a little bit more reinforcement. So we're looking to, if I'm a Chiefs coach, we're looking for that number 2, to be realistic, that number 2 and number 3 spot.
Right. Farouk, I'm going to come back to you because you make a very good point that Tsepo, Farouk says impact player. I think that's actually, I didn't think about that. I think that's a great way to look at him. He improves the squad, he's on the bench, and he's an impact player. But that means Chiefs need to sign another 1 or 2 main strikers, certainly another one, main strikers. And why do you think, is this a Nabi signing? Or do you think it's the club going, listen, we've got to cover our bets here. We've got to hedge our bets. We may not get the guy we want. At least we've got him. He's available. Let's get him on board because he's better than what we've got. Is he better than what you got at Chiefs?
Yeah, firstly, Peter, I think it's a Nabi signing. The coach has been here for a season now, and he knows more or less like most of the players in our local league. So I'm sure he's watched him. He knows Ighodaro, and he knows what he can bring to his team going forward. So I believe it's the coach's signing. I think, and yeah, he is slightly better. He is slightly better than the Morris, and I know they have Morris up front, and sometimes they play with Duba, which is a different profile of a striker when they go with Duba up front or Dubriz, So I think he is slightly better. When you want to use him as an impact player, it also depends. When you're chasing the game and now you're scooping balls forward or you're playing hopeful football. Sometimes you see teams when they are trailing, last 10 minutes, they push their center backs to go play the striker. We see that, in today's game. Is that guy that I trust him, Ariel, I trust him to get you something, to get you a goal.
All right. Fair enough. To summarize, Chiefs fans out there, let us know what you think of the Ighodaro signing. Is he the answer for Kaizer Chiefs as the number one striker for the season? Chiefs, Tsepo and Farouk don't seem to think so. They believe he's a squad player who will come on and do well either as a substitute or play in certain games when they need a different style of football. I tend to agree with both Tsepo and Farouk on that. And if he's not the player, who should the club still be looking at? Just if you want to summarize it, though, and you want to talk about the difference in the league, you've got Sundowns who probably signing Tristan Mayele, and they're competing with the biggest clubs in Africa to sign the player. And then you've got a free transfer being signed by Kaizer Chiefs. But it could turn out to be a very smart free transfer. But I think the fans have a right to be a little bit upset about this signing if he's the main guy. If he's there to bolster the squad and add us another string to the Kaizer Chiefs bow, then I think I agree with Farouk and Tsepo. He's the right man. But let's talk about a second reported signing, a reputed signing, Ethan Chislett. His father, as I say, played in South Africa. I think I may have played against his father. He's a number 10, reportedly a number 10. I've only seen a little bit of him on YouTube. He had an interview in SoccerBeat, which you all read. He's 26. He's 5'10", so he's not small. He's been well schooled. He's been at Southampton as a youth, which is one of the best youth policies in the UK. And he's done the rounds. He's played 168 games in the third tier and fourth tier in English football. And on the positive side, that's a good school. That's a hard school in Knox. Farouk, Tsepo, football. If you can survive at that league, you can definitely survive the hardships of football. The big question is, a player who's been released by Port Vale, who won promotion from the fourth tier to the third tier. He's been released. He's a South African, so that's a plus. They don't have to get work permits. The story is he wants to play in South Africa to try and get himself into the World Cup squad. My question is a number 10, that's the coveted position at the Kaizer Chiefs. It's been an ace cruiser, a Computer Lamola, a Dr. Kumalu kind of position, a Shoes Meshwe. That's the position that Ace Nitsalengu, that's the crown jewels of Kaizer Chiefs. And an area where they've struggled in recent years to find somebody to wear those crown jewels. Is a guy from the fourth tier who's played a lot of his career in the third tier as well. Is that the kind of guy that can bring the magic to the number 10 jersey? That's the first question. Can he be good enough to do that? There's a big question mark over that. On the plus side, though, which I want to throw at you as well, is that he could be bringing something completely different to the South African game, to Kaizer Chiefs, because he's a South African, so he's got that kind of mentality already. He understands the country. So, but he will bring a different game to our football because he can play. I've seen him, and he's a number 10. He definitely can play. He's good at free kicks and so on. So he can play. Will he be bringing something different? And then is this another Furman situation where everybody doubted how Furman could possibly do well in South Africa? Yet he went on to captain SuperSport to league championships and captain Bafana. Yes, different positions. Much easier to play as a holding midfielder in South Africa when you come from the UK. They're number 10. So, assuming the signing's done, is this the man to wear the crown jewels of Kaizer Chiefs as a number 10? Obviously, only time will tell. And can a guy from the lower leagues of English hard knocks football have that kind of ability to knock the ball about and play and control a midfield in South Africa. Tsepo, as a player, what would you be thinking now that you heard, if you were Chiefs and you hear that he's come to the club? Yes, it's a wait and see, but on his record, what's your feeling?
It's a very tough one, but I know again, if you look at Lelepo, he proved the doubters wrong, because he came also from a very lower league in the French side, and you ask yourself, why is he being released? From that side to South Africa.
It cost 10 million, though. He cost 10 million, huh? They paid 10 million for him.
Yes. They also paid a transfer fee for him, But initially when we saw the league that he was playing in, we thought, maybe, he's not gonna make it in South Africa. But I think it's those cases where we have to give him a chance. I think I can't say much, but I just want to give him a chance. As he said, he's also local boy. He's born in South Africa, so maybe he also felt it's time to come back home and maybe want to push for the Bafana spot, because exciting time with Africa Cup of Nations and on the brink of qualifying for the World Cup. So maybe that was his motivation coming back home. But I'll just give him time.
So Farouk, again, you Kaizer Chiefs coach, and Kaizer Junior comes to says, okay, I've got you Ighodaro. He's going to solve your striking problems, and you going, oh my goodness, I'm going to bring him as an impact player only. And now Kaizer Junior comes to says, Farouk, good news, I've signed the number 10 for you. He's South African. And you go, oh great, who is he? And he says, well, he's been playing in the lower league, the English 4th and 3rd division, which technically it is. What are your feelings? And do you know anything about the player besides what the media has pointed out and was seen on YouTube?
Well, I'm sure they've done their homework. There must have been a lot of footage on this young man, coming in and being a candidate for that very, very, very demanding position. It's a position the Chiefs have had a problem filling. But in saying that, I would be a little bit concerned based on the fact that Sundowns have proven beyond a doubt that they can compete with some of the best European clubs, like we've seen now in the World Club Championship, which means now, we have to consider that signing a 4th division player who can play in our 1st division, when our 1st division is proven, I'm not saying we're on the same level as the Premiership, but I mean, we probably have the capacity to compete in their Champions League as such, or the Championship as such.
Yes.
So therefore, I would say, yes, give the boy a chance, but don't expect too much at first. If he's going to be a player coming in, he has to prove himself. The tempo of the game in South Africa is a little bit more different from what he's used to, where he's playing in the 4th division. I think sometimes people don't realize how quick our game is. And it's not always good quick, Peter. Sometimes it's quick for the sake of quick.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I think we need to respect the fact that we do have some very formidable young number 10s in the country who could also put their hand up. So give the guy a chance. But at the same time, I think Chiefs have a duty to themselves to start unearthing those 10s so they don't find, or even their number 3s and 4s like they did with Lucas and with Toby in the past, that fill those strategic positions. We've seen them do that for goalkeepers. Now suddenly they find themselves in a bit of a situation where they can't really fill a homegrown talent in that important position. We know how important that position was for Chiefs over the years with Brian, with Rowan, with Kune coming in. Now I'm using these examples with the 10 as well, Peter, to say, bring the boy in. But at the same time, you got to start not doing what we're doing now, season after season, because Chiefs are also promoted 4 very exciting young players, one of them being a number 10 or number 6. So let's see what happens. Maybe this player could bring some stability in that midfield. Maybe he could bring that experience that he's gained over the years being developed by Southampton, as you pointed out. So I'm optimistic, but I'm not going to say he's the right fit, because it's difficult to give you a judgment on a player you've never physically seen. We've seen Ighodaro. We've seen now some of the other signings that they've made, but we haven't seen this young man.
Very good point. So Chiefs fans out there, let us know in the comment section what you think of the possibility of these Ighodaro and Ethan signing for Kaizer Chiefs. I agree with Tsepo and Farouk that we've got to wait and see. They could actually be the surprise signings of the season, because Ighodaro can score goals. He can put himself about. And as Farouk says, if he gets a good start, You never know. He could be the guy who brings 10, 12, 15 goals for Kaizer Chiefs. He's certainly got a possibility in him. Chislett has definitely come from a good background. He'll bring something different to Kaizer Chiefs as a player. And again, I think if the fans are patient with both of them, there's a chance for big success. If the fans aren't sort of patient with him, then I think it's game over. But let's wait and see. There's a long preseason ahead of us. Guys, thanks very much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Send your questions directly to Tsepo and Farouk. I know they both look at the comment section, so do I. Look forward to it. Don't forget to subscribe. Talk soon. Cheers, guys.